Welcome to the Make Each Click Count podcast. This is your host, Andy Splichal. We are happy to welcome this week's guest to discuss today's topic, which is growing your e-commerce business using YouTube. Today's guest is a YouTube expert. Using YouTube, he has created over 20 million in e-commerce revenue and over 100,000 leads. He has made YouTube ads the number one acquisition channel for several D2C e-commerce businesses. A big welcome to Chris Hoppe. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Andy. Very good to have to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're excited to have you and excited to talk about YouTube. So, e-commerce companies are always looking for new marketing channels that can drive new traffic at profitable levels. But given that, I'm curious, what makes YouTube untapped by so many retailers, do you think?
That's a very good question. I think historically, many e-commerce brands have grown with meta ads, and it's been the predominant channel. And we've seen a very big shift when iOS hit in 2021. When was the first time when e-commerce, started to think, okay, maybe we want to diversify. Maybe it would be good to have other acquisition channels. And that's also when I was still working at the D2C brand, and when we started exploring different channels and started to think, what is a channel that has scale? And YouTube was definitely one of the largest social media networks. And so we went into YouTube, but still, I think it's undiscovered because it's very, very hard to make YouTube work for e-commerce.
What makes it hard to make it work?
That's a good question. So I think our experience was when we started with YouTube ads that we burned 100,000 euros, $100,000, and didn't get any return. We worked with 5 people at Google, video specialists and everyone, but still we didn't get any returns. We got like 30% brand lift, and Google told us that's a great result, but we said, where's the revenue? And I think that's something I hear a lot, right, from brands. They say we tried YouTube and it didn't work. And for us, it took us a year to experiment. We just said, okay, we don't want to give up on YouTube. We believe it can also work for e-commerce, and we tested a lot. And we basically found that there's not only media buying side, but also the creative side that needs to be done right to make YouTube actually work. So there's a lot of pieces and puzzles that all need to fit together. And there was nothing on the market when we started that really gave us, this kind of formula, this concept, how to scale with YouTube.
So, are there specific ads that you need if you want to actually drive revenue opposed to just getting more brand recognition?
Yeah, so we still work with YouTube long form. Right now, there's a lot of talks about YouTube Shorts, but YouTube still has not shifted much to Shorts, especially with ads. So it's a very specific format. It's like 1.5 to 3 minutes, which is very different, right? If you think about any other platform, 1.5 to 3 minutes, I think is not the norm for other platforms. But what it gives you is the opportunity, if you structure the creative in the right way, that I always say, like, you can put the landing page into video, right? So you can put a lot of things that usually readers would read on the landing page, would walk through on the landing page. You can already put in the ad, and if you do it right from a structure perspective, what we see is then the quality of the traffic that we actually drive to the website is of very high quality. So we see like even 50-100% higher average session durations, pages per session, and also conversions on the website, because they are already pre-qualified and have a lot of the information already in the video when they come to the website.
So, how are you having videos filmed? I mean, is it somebody just doing it with their phone, talking into it? Are they professionally done?
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of videos produce the best?
So we tried everything. We tried kind of TV productions almost. We spent 50,000 on a video production, and we spent almost nothing. And we basically had the same concept filmed once with a 2.5 thousand dollar production, and then 50K. And actually 2.5 worked better. So it's not necessarily about the quality. Too high quality, same as everywhere, can just come across as an ad, as a TV commercial, and that's not helpful. So it's surprising that sometimes even voiceover ads, or you just take existing material and put voiceovers over it, but with the right structure, can work much better than some professionally filmed ads.
So if an advertiser out there is listening, somebody who owns an e-commerce and they wanted to try
Mm.
a, launching a couple of YouTube ads, where would they start?
We always start with the research, right? Because we think we hear a lot. We tried YouTube ads, it didn't work, and I always ask what didn't work, right? And so what we find is that sometimes you believe customers buy because of a specific reason, but on YouTube more than anywhere else, you really need to understand what is the reason because you put a lot more content into this 1.5, 3 minutes. So we do a lot of research, go and scrape reviews, see what people write about the product, but also go to competitor websites, check out what people write about the competitor products, or just in general how the competitors position themselves. We have basically a list of 20 things we do in terms of research to then put that into different modules. So we have one core video creative, but test different hooks, similar as on other platforms, to really see what works. So I strongly recommend to really put in the effort in the beginning. Same as on other platforms, but even more on YouTube to find out then what works in terms of messaging.
So once you have your messaging done, let's talk about targeting.
Mhm.
How are you you targeting other YouTube channels? Are you targeting by topic?
Mhm.
Are you,
Yeah,
where do you find the best results?
a lot has changed over the last would say 1.5 years. So if you look back 1.5, 2 years or 3 years, maybe that was YouTube had a lot of possibilities in terms of targeting. As you said, you could target other channels, you could target
Mhm.
keywords. There's a lot of things you could do. Nowadays it's not possible anymore. So if you want to run conversion focused ads, you are not able to do all these placement targetings and stuff anymore. So you can just run awareness videos, but then if you focus on awareness, you're also not going to get conversions. So unfortunately, that's not possible anymore. However, I always say that creative does the targeting, right? So I think one big misconception about YouTube ads is people think they want people to watch the video, and that's actually not the case. You actually want to make people skip the video. Those people that are not your ideal target audience. So how we pre-qualify customers or potential customers is we actually are very specific in the beginning of the video and make those who are not our ideal target audience skip. And that tells the algorithm kind of, who are the right audiences to focus on and then deliver the video to a more qualified audience.
Give me an example. How do you do that?
So, for example, let's say you could say, "Hey, do you struggle sleeping at night?" If I don't say what I'm selling, right, then I could be selling now supplements that help you sleep. I could sell you a pillow or a mattress. I can sell you, I don't know, a sleep tracking app. So you need to be very specific, also, for example, on what the product in the core offering is. You don't want to just hook people, and then after 30 seconds they find out, oh, it is about supplements. I'm absolutely not open to take supplements to sleep, and then they skip. Or if you have a high quality product and it's about a certain price point, then you want to speak about that openly and not later make people find out, oh, that's actually not affordable for myself, right? So this is one example. Or you just don't want to say, hey, what you're going to see in this video is totally going to change your life, right? So exaggerated. So you want to be very transparent and straightforward also with that in the messaging.
And why do you want to get them to skip?
Yeah, again, I said, like, if you tell the algorithm kind of, okay, these people skip because they're not interested in the product, that helps the algorithm to also show the video to more people that keep watching the video. And so this is really helps to pre-qualify and pre-filter the right audience. And those people that keep watching, actually they really keep watching a lot of the videos. So then you have 1.5 3 minutes where you can deliver a lot of content and a lot of value, and that is with 95% sound on. So there's a lot of warming up the audience before they actually go to the landing page.
And what landing page or call to action do you find work the best for videos?
So that's really depends on the products, on the offering. We work with many different e-commerce, also coaching and consulting and SaaS. It can work, classic product detail page, but it can also work that you create a dedicated sales landing page. In general, we recommend that you first start with, finding out what messaging works best in the ad creatives, because there's where you have the biggest leverage. And when you find out, okay, this is one message, one angle that works, you can then, go and optimize the landing page afterwards. So, for example, if it's about gaining weight, gaining muscles, losing weight, different angles, then you can build very specific landing pages for these messaging, and optimize from there.
Now, what services do you offer clients through your agency at Forwrd Agency?
Yeah, most clients we work with, they just give us the full scope. So we help them build the outline, the script, do the research first, then build the outline, the script for the creatives. We help them with the creative production, so we do everything for them, and also in parallel build up the accounts, the campaigns, and do the full media buying. Sometimes also happens that clients produce creatives in-house. Then we just help them write the script, get the creatives done, give feedback, and help them with the media buying.
On the creative, so videos, are clients using those like in their Facebook ads as well, or do they use them just exclusively with YouTube ads?
We give, once we produce creatives, clients can do with the creatives whatever they want, also with mostly with the footage. It is interesting because YouTube is very specific, right? As a format, as mentioned, there's hardly any other channel that has 1.5, 3 minutes videos that also work in a landscape mode or in this format. So clients are free to use that, but mostly we find that Meta works differently. It's the same if you would take a Meta creative and would run it on YouTube. Most of the time, it doesn't work. So you can restructure it because of the format. But yeah, most of the time you can take snippets and recut it and make it fit the other platform.
Now, is the service that you guys specialize in is YouTube ads, but is there any other channels that you work with or offer services for clients?
Of course, yeah. I mean, I've been working in D2C for the last 5 years, in digital marketing for the last 15 years. So I've been working in agencies and I'm working in D2Cs. I've helped build a brand, the whole D2C from when they just started out to close to 100 million. So basically I come with always the bigger picture, and we try to also work with brands from this bigger perspective. So I regularly tell clients not to start YouTube yet because it might be too early. But also, we try to not see it as mainly from acquisition perspective, but also acquire customers that have a very high lifetime value. So, for example, if let's say you have different angles and your product, let's say it's convenience food, and it helps a very healthy audience like sporty people to live a better life, then these people will be very motivated to use your product. While if you target with a different messaging in acquisition, for example, everyone who just orders fast food, you might get customers that have a lower lifetime value because they're not as motivated to keep using your product. So even if we get cheaper customer acquisition costs with some audiences, we try to always acquire audiences and look also at the bigger picture, to acquire customers that actually also produce a high lifetime value. So this is kind of our perspective. We specialize in YouTube ads, but also try to see it from a bigger picture, what really makes sense for the business.
So, what are the common mistakes that you see when people come to you and they've said, I've tried YouTube ads, but they haven't worked?
A lot. So most people just really take their TV commercial, take the Meta ads, put them on YouTube, or take some existing YouTube video that they have, put some budget on it, and think then this works. And it requires this whole understanding how to build, of course, the whole account and campaign structure, but also especially the creative structure, and then also give it time to learn. So produce creatives where you actually know you can test different hooks, you see what works, and then iterate from there. We're usually very fast, so within 3-4 weeks you can really see how much you can achieve with YouTube. So it's not that it takes forever or several months. You can do that within 3-4 weeks, but you have to have the right structure and the right approach for testing, especially in the beginning.
Now, do you have a favorite success story of one of your clients that you could share?
I think our most important success story was in the beginning when we tried to run YouTube ads the first time, and we burned 100,000 euros, as mentioned, and achieved basically no return on ad spend. I think it was 0.04 return on ad spend, and then we managed to scale it to around 600K ad spend a month at 1.9 ROAS in 9 to 10 months later. So that was a lot of hard work, and showed us that it can work. We still didn't know if it works for other brands. So then other brands came, and we started working with other brands, and we saw the same concept work across brands and also work for other brands. So now we have several brands that we've been working for 1.5 years that also spend 6 figures a month on YouTube ads. And so this is really cool to see that this initial effort and work, worked out.
And what are some of the challenges that you've struggled with in getting results?
That's a good question, actually. I mean, YouTube ads don't work for everyone, right? So if you have a very, let's say, very generic product, no distinguishing from anything else, like let's say you sell socks and underwear, and it's like, there's nothing special about your product, it's very, very hard to make it work, right? So it really depends also. YouTube works really well if you have a product that is specific, that maybe also needs explanation. YouTube works, if you distinguish yourself from others. So there are definitely some, I would say, categories or verticals that are harder to make work than others. And the benefit, on the other hand, is like if it once works, it can work really well. So the creative fatigue is very, very low on YouTube ads. It's something that many people don't know. Like on TikTok, I think you need to iterate very, very fast. On Meta, it's medium, and on YouTube, you can spend 1 million on one creative and still the best performing creative after 6 months. So that's the upside.
So what are the verticals that really lend themselves to doing well with a YouTube? I mean, I think you had said a little bit, if it's a product that's unique or needs explaining, but
Yeah.
is there certain, clothing, does it do better? How is there certain vertical for e-commerce companies that would do better than others?
Anything that solves a problem works really well. Anything that needs explanation, I would say there are hardly any verticals that don't work. Fashion is one that's really hard. That comes to my mind. Fashion, jewelry, something in this direction is very hard because it's not really problem driven. It's more desire driven, and often very hard to distinguish. Just from design, it doesn't need a lot of explanation. But apart from that, anything like supplements or beauty or anything, that kind of solves a problem. So that the core industries of the core verticals of e-commerce are all doing very well on YouTube.
And who's the perfect client for your agency? Is there a certain budget they need to be willing to spend, or
Yeah.
certain annual revenue? What makes a good client to work with you?
Yeah, I usually say that clients should start YouTube ads once they established at least one push channel really well. Like usually they run meta ads and they scale meta ads and it works. It's a lot easier to start with one channel and then expand than if you spend a lot of resources in basically managing too many channels. Usually that's around 5 million a year or 10 million a year is when it really starts making sense for e-commerce brands to start with YouTube ads.
And how can an interested listener learn more about working with you?
Sure. I mean, always happy to have a chat. So on a website, that's Forwrd Agency. And we have a lot of information there as well. Also, some brands to work with and how the whole process looks like. I'm always very direct and honest with clients. So even if I see that it's not a perfect fit, I always try to provide value and let clients know when it might be a good point to come back and start YouTube ads.
Well, this has been great. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up today?
Yeah, I think YouTube is really a channel that is still hidden. And for some brands, especially when they're doing 5, 10 million a year, it's also a channel that, if you're not on YouTube, you're really missing out. As it's kind of a brand protection as well, because YouTube is the second biggest search engine next to Google. And you have all the search terms there. So basically, everyone who is, has been in touch with your brand or could be in a retargeting audience, your competitors can tap into your audience and also take the audience from you. So it really makes sense to look at YouTube. If you are not in that size, I think you're missing out.
Those are great final words. Well, thanks for joining us today, Chris.
Thank you, Andy, for having me.
For listeners, remember, if you like this episode, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave us an honest review. And if you're looking for more information on Forwrd Agency or connecting with Chris, you'll find the links in the show notes below. In addition, if you're looking for more information on growing your business, check out our podcast resource center available at podcast.makeeachclickcount.com. We have compiled all of our different past guests by show topic and have included each of their contact information in case you would like more information on any of the services I've discussed during previous episodes. Well, that's it for today. Remember to stay safe, keep healthy, and happy marketing, and I'll talk to you in the next episode.